Breaststroke timing can be one of the most difficult skills for swimmers to learn. And even when they learn it, it can come and go just like that, and often at the worst possible time. Fortunately, breaststroke timing is actually pretty simple, even if it's hard to do. And in this video, we're going to go over strategies to help your swimmers more consistently and reliably learn breaststroke timing and be able to execute it when it matters. Hi everyone, Andrew here, helping you help your swimmers get faster. And in this video, we're tackling breaststroke timing. We'll go over why it matters, what it is, what it looks like, why it's difficult to improve, and then how to actually make it happen. Let's check it out. So why does timing matter in breaststroke? The analogy I like to use is hitting the gas and the brakes at the same time. There's no speed. And so there's a lot of propulsion that's created with the arms and the legs in breaststroke, but there's also a lot of resistance that's created with the arms and the legs in breaststroke. And if they happen at the same time, you're pushing both pedals in the car. While they might move forward, it's going to take a lot of energy and it's not going to be very fast. So we have to help swimmers make sure they're doing the right thing at the right time to maximize and optimize their speed. And timing also influences the effectiveness of the arms and the legs. So the kick and the pull can create more propulsion or less propulsion depending on when they happen within the stroke cycle. So if swimmers can get timing right, they're going to get more out of the same. If they get it wrong, they're going to get a lot less out of the same. That's also true of the arm recoveries and the leg recoveries. They happen slowly, they happen at the wrong time, they're going to create a lot more resistance than if they can happen at the right time. So we have to help swimmers figure out how to do the right things at the right time to get more speed out of the same effort. And that is exactly what we want. So what is effective breaststroke timing? As I mentioned earlier, it's actually pretty simple, if not easy to do. So swimmers need to learn how to separate the arms and the legs. The legs are going to kick when the arms are in streamline, and the arms are going to pull when the legs are in streamline. So that means they're hitting the gas without hitting the brake, and they're going to get a lot more propulsion out of the kick, out of the pull, and it's going to take a lot less energy, a lot less effort. And so when the arms and the legs are separated, swimmers can change their timing depending on how fast they want to go. They can get more separation when they want to go slower, and they need to shrink the separation when they want to go faster. So in a 200 breaststroke, there tends to be more time between the arms and the legs. And then in a 50 breaststroke, there tends to be little to no time between the arms and the leg. And that's a skill that swimmers need to manage in order to swim the right stroke at the right time for the right event. Regardless, fast recoveries are going to be critical for effective breaststroke. It allows swimmers to minimize the amount of time they spend in positions that create a lot of resistance. And it allows them to maintain high stroke rates, even though they have to wait and be patient and separate the arms and the legs. So if everything happens slow, it's going to be slow. But if they can recover fast, they'll get out of resisted positions faster, and they'll be able to keep the stroke rate and the kick rate up, which is also critical for going fast. So let's check out what it looks like in some elite swimmers. So first, we'll watch some 200 swimmers as it's a little bit easier to see this timing. So we'll start here in a streamlined position, and the first thing he's going to do is he's going to pull and watch what happens with the legs. They don't move. He's not going to recover the legs until the arm pull is completely finished. So he's finished the arm pull here. He still hasn't started to recover the legs with any type of effort or intensity. And then he's going to recover the arms forward quickly, recover the legs quickly, and now once he starts to kick, he's already back into streamline with the upper body. So by having the arms in streamline when he kicks, he's going to get a lot more speed than if he was in a position that's creating a lot of resistance. And so he's going to kick there, and again, now he's going to separate the arms and the legs. He just kicked with the legs, now he's going to pull with the arms, and because he's swimming at 200, there's a lot of space between the arms and the legs, especially with this swimmer who's really good at maintaining alignment and has a strong kick. The principle is the same even with all athletes. However, how much separation can differ from swimmer to swimmer. Now again, arms are pulling, the legs are in streamline, so he's hitting the gas, he's not hitting the brakes with the legs. He gets through that, and then he's going to recover the arms fast, he's going to recover the legs fast, so that he's in a position, he's back in streamline, he can kick, and he's going to be able to get a lot more out of that kick, just like he got a lot more out of that pull. And so it's simple, it's effective, and it's all about arms and then legs with separation, with space between the arms and between the legs. So now let's take a look at what happens over shorter distances when swimmers are swimming hundreds. So now this is a race where a swimmer is breaking the world record in the 100, and we're going to watch and see if he has the same basic concepts, the same basic principles when he's swimming fast at really high stroke rates. So he's going to be pulling here, and then he's finished his pull. The legs have still not recovered, just like our other swimmer. And then quick recovery of the arms, quick recovery of the legs, and now he's in a position to kick back with the upper body and streamline. There it happens there, and then once he starts the pull, his legs are back in alignment, everything's tight, and that's going to allow him to create a powerful pull with as little resistance as possible, and then recover again. Legs come up fast, arms recover fast, he gets out of those positions quickly, and also allows him to get in position to execute a great kick while being in really great alignment. So what's really important there is the separation between the arms and the legs. And the difference between our previous swimmer and this swimmer is one is going to wait a lot longer between the pull and the kick and the kick and the pull. But this swimmer, because he has to swim faster, he has to have a higher stroke rate, he's going to wait a lot less. It's going to be arms and then legs, and it's going to happen really fast. There's not going to be a lot of separation, and that allows him to maintain really great timing while still swimming with a really high stroke rate. And that's ultimately what we're trying to do. We're trying to help swimmers learn how to separate the arms, how to separate the legs, and really make it happen at fast stroke rates when they're trying to go fast, and at appropriate stroke rates when they're trying to go a little bit slower. So what's the challenge in helping swimmers learn to improve their timing? First of all, timing is going to be very precise. It's going to be very subtle. And small differences that you probably can't even see can lead to major changes in speed. And these subtleties, this nuance, can't necessarily be simplified into words. And so while you can have the concept of separating the arms and the legs, and that's going to be an effective principle, what swimmers have to do to feel that and how to change that depending on how fast they're going is a lot more difficult. And it's going to be really tough to tell them exactly what to do. So we want to put them in positions where they can feel and figure out what they need to do in a lot of different situations. The other challenge is that it's pretty easy to be aggressive. It's pretty easy to be patient. It's hard to do both at the same time within the same stroke cycle with both the arms and the legs. So the limbs need to be able to move fast, and they need to be able to move slow in an alternating fashion. So the arms are going to recover really fast, and then they're going to be patient as they either wait or build into the pull. Likewise with the legs, there's going to be a really fast recovery of the legs. Then they're going to be effective with the kick, and then they have to wait in order to initiate the next recovery. And so that combination can be really tough for swimmers to feel and understand. There's also no perfect timing. You can't tell a swimmer exactly what they need to do to execute perfect timing because it changes with speed. So swimmers are going to have to be able to modify what they do to change how fast they want to go. Effective timing also changes between individuals based upon their kicking abilities and their pulling abilities, as well as their alignment. So if you look back at the first swimmer we watched, he had really great alignment, really great kick, and that allowed him to be a lot more patient in the front of the stroke. If a swimmer's creating more resistance, they have a terrible kick, they can't afford to swim at that timing because they have to get back into the next pull to start creating speed again. Timing also changes with fatigue. And a perfect example of this is in 200 breaststroke races, a lot of times you'll see swimmers pick up the stroke rate on the last 50 because, again, with fatigue, with a smaller amount of time that they have left to swim, they're going to use a different timing. It's not going to be the same timing throughout a single race, and that's a nuance that swimmers have to be able to manage and control in order to create the speed that they want. So even though breaststroke timing is relatively simple from a conceptual standpoint, we have all these challenges we have to overcome, which is one of the reasons that a lot of swimmers really struggle to improve and maintain effective breaststroke timing. So now let's talk solutions. We have to find a way for swimmers to feel these key skills. We're going to have to find a way to help them understand the balance between aggression and patience. And we're going to help them learn how to modify their timing for the different events as they fatigue and figure out the best timing that's going to work well for them. We're going to go over 3 different drills that can be really useful for helping swimmers feel these key skills. Then we're going to go over 3 performance strategies that you can use with any drills and regular breaststroke swimming as well, so you can further help swimmers figure out how to swim with great timing, do so consistently, and do so reliably. Underwater breaststroke is probably my starting point for helping swimmers execute great breaststroke timing because for whatever reason, they always seem to do it really, really well. Swimmers of all ability levels seem to execute great timing when they swim breaststroke underwater. They go the arms, then they go the legs. They go the arms, then they go the legs. They go the arms, then they go the legs. They seem to be able to feel losses of speed, so they change the stroke to minimize speed loss. And so that's a really powerful tool. It's a really powerful strategy because instantly you can help swimmers feel how to execute great breaststroke timing, even though they're underwater. So while it's pretty easy to get a powerful change, implementation here is critical so you can actually help them learn to do that skill, execute that timing when they're actually swimming breaststroke. So you want to integrate it into full stroke swimming whenever you can. So you do a 25 underwater, you do a 25 over the surface. So you're alternating and incorporating underwater breaststroke with other drills or full stroke breaststroke swimming so they can learn how to do it on the surface. You also want to challenge it in a lot of different ways, and so we'll talk a little bit more about that later, but stuff like using speed, using resistance, different stroke counts, different stroke rates. So that's all going to help them learn how to modify and be really effective with underwater breaststroke and therefore their timing. The only thing that doesn't make this a perfect drill is that it's performed underwater. And so you have that hypoxic challenge, which can make it more difficult, especially with younger swimmers. They're not really good at holding their breath, and it may not necessarily be safe. So you have to be creative with how you use it and how you can get a lot of repetitions in, even though they have to manage that lack of oxygen. If you can navigate those challenges, it's really, really effective for helping swimmers learn how to time their breaststroke swimming. So if we watch this particular swimmer here, this is actually the first time she had ever done this drill. I didn't tell her anything. I just told her to swim underwater, and she's executing these skills correctly. So arms, and then legs. Arms, and then legs. And so she's kicking when her hands are in line, and she's pulling when the legs are in line. And so that's exactly what we're looking for. That's exactly what we're trying to accomplish. And it tends to happen really naturally. And once we can get them in the right positions with the right basic skills, then we can start to challenge them to really help them take the next level and become a lot more resilient and a lot more effective with their timing. Next strategy is add kicks and add pulls. So 2 pulls, 1 kick, 3 pulls, 1 kick, 3 kicks, 1 pull, 2 kicks, 1 pull. And so these drills are typically thought of as strategies for improving the pull or the kick. I think they're even better for improving timing. And that's because there's a necessary separation of the arms and the legs. So the arms are going to be moving when the legs are not, or the legs are going to be moving when the arms are not. And that's the timing that we want to help swimmers feel. We want to feel how to move the arms when the legs are in streamline, how to move the legs when the arms are in streamline. By adding extra kicks or pulls, the arms or the legs are going to be held in really long positions, because if they're doing extra kicks, they're going to stay in streamline with the arms, and they get used to feeling those positions while still executing either a kick or a pull. So the nature of the drill really forces separation, and that's exactly what we're looking for. The other thing is that it helps swimmers learn how to create separation and have really high limb speeds. As we saw in the 100 swimmer earlier, he still had to move his limbs really fast, but he still had to create separation. And again, aggression and patience, making sure that those exist simultaneously, is difficult to do. And so if you have swimmers do 2 pulls, 1 kick really fast, they're going to move the arms really fast, but there's still separation between the arms and the legs. So they learn how to be patient with either the arms or the legs, and they learn how to be aggressive with the opposite, whether that's the arms or the legs. And that's a really key skill, is it can help them feel how to be aggressive and how to be patient. And again, they can't really do it wrong. By the nature of the drill, they have to move the arms when the legs aren't moving, or they have to move the legs when the arms aren't moving. So it's a really great tool because it almost encourages or forces swimmers to have good timing, and we can do it at a lot of different speeds, which can help them feel how to be patient and aggressive. So if we watch here, he's going to take 2 pulls, and then he's going to take a kick. 2 pulls, and then a kick. And so what's going to happen is those legs are going to stay in position when he takes that first pull, and then he's got to figure out how to slide those legs in. So he's practicing keeping the legs long, which is exactly what we want. Here, we're going to add a kick, and if you watch, he's going to take that second kick, and his arms are going to be in streamline, everything's going to be in line. So again, we're creating that separation. We're helping him feel how to move the legs independently of the arms, and when those arms are in front, he can practice kicking really fast and still being patient with the upper body, which again is a key skill that we're trying to help swimmers learn to have better effective breaststroke timing. The last drill that I really like to use, I call delay breaststroke. And so while the first drills more or less encourage swimmers to have effective timing and in some ways required it, this approach is a little bit more cognitive, but it helps swimmers figure out and feel how to change their timing to change their speed. So what swimmers are going to do is they're going to pull, they're going to wait, they're going to delay the kick, and then they're going to kick. So they're going to consciously separate arms and legs. Pull, wait, kick. They're going to get separation because they're choosing to do so. And then they can learn to change how much separation they have in order to create speed. So what this is really helpful for is helping them learn how to control their timing by increasing or decreasing the separation. That can create speed without having to change effort or limb speed. So if they have a really big space between the arms and the legs, they're not going to swim super fast. If they can shrink that down to almost nothing, they're going to swim faster even if they don't change anything else. And so that's a really important thing for them to learn, is that they can control their timing, and they can control their timing to create speed. And the more they have control, the more likely it is they're going to be able to get their timing back when they lose it, whether that's in practice, whether that's in warm-up, or even when that's in the middle of a race. If they panic a little bit, they kind of freak out, they overswim it a little bit, if they have control, they can find a way to get it back. And I've seen swimmers save races because they had the skill, the awareness to control their timing, and this is a great way to help swimmers learn it. So if we watch here, he's going to pull, he's going to wait, he's going to kick. Pull, wait, kick. And so he's keeping the delay the same here. What you can have swimmers do is you can mess around with different amounts of delays while they're descending or building or whatever you want to do. But the idea here is that there's conscious separation between the arms and the legs. Once they can feel that, once they can control that, then we can start to influence that to help them learn how to find better timing, adjust their timing, and ultimately swim faster. Regardless of the drills you're using, or if you're just swimming full stroke breaststroke, adding speed can be really powerful for helping swimmers change and influence and improve their timing. We've talked about, we showed in the videos, speed affects timing, and so if swimmers can be exposed to different speeds, they're more likely to be able to figure out how to control their timing. You want to have swimmers learn how to execute great timing in a lot of different situations, and you want to use speed and manipulate speed in order to create those different situations. The more situations they can perform in, the more control. And if swimmers have control, they're going to be able to choose their timing. If they can choose their timing, they can influence it and use that in order to swim faster. And so using building strategies and descending strategies to create variation is key. You can have them build within laps. You can have them build within swims. You can have them descend. You can do a lot of different things, but by having them switch up the speed, they're going to have to make adjustments in their timing, and that's how they're going to learn to execute great timing. You can change the speed of the drills, and swimmers are going to have to change their timing as well. Higher speeds, they have to be more and more precise. They got to shrink those gaps, but still create enough space. And then on lower speeds, they have to learn how to be patient and really execute great position, great posture in between those spaces, or they're really going to struggle to hold their speed. So more speed is not necessarily better, but lots of different speeds, but using a lot of different speeds is really effective for helping swimmers learn better timing. Next up is changing stroke counts and stroke rates. That's going to require swimmers to change their timing. If they have to move their arms faster, timing is going to change. If they have to move their arms slower, timing is going to change. If they have to take more strokes or less strokes, that's going to change their timing as well. And so lower counts, lower stroke rates, that's going to stretch the stroke out. They're going to have to learn how to manage it with more space. Higher stroke counts, faster stroke rates, that's going to compress the stroke. They're going to have to figure out how to manage it at higher rates. And just as with speed, variation is going to be key. You can have them descend stroke counts and rates. You can have them ascend stroke counts and rates. You can have them alternate between faster and slower, higher or lower. And you can also add in speed requirements for some of these. So the idea here is getting swimmers to execute in a lot of different situations. The more situations, the better. And challenging stroke counts, stroke rates is a great way to do it. Last up is using resistance. And so resistance will tend to slow down the limbs, which means that it takes longer to get through a stroke cycle, and that means things are happening slower, so it tends to be a little bit easier for swimmers to figure out and feel what they're doing and then adjust what they're doing. And that's true even when they're trying to swim really fast because everything's happening sort of like in slow motion. Resistance also demands continuous propulsion, and so swimmers have to learn how to create propulsion with the arms and the legs and really shrink that space, because if they're using a really big space, a really big glide between the arms and the legs, they're going to get punished and they're going to slow down. So it can help them be a lot more precise with how much space they can create and trying to get that down to almost zero so that they're having more continuous propulsion, but they're still not overlapping the stroke too much where they're hitting the gas, hitting the brakes at the same time. It's also simply different. Swimmers have to figure out timing in a lot of different ways. Different types of resistance are going to feel different. They're going to have a little bit different impact. And the more different situations, the more context swimmers can master, the more robust their timing is going to be. And that's ultimately what we want. We don't want swimmers that can just execute perfect timing in one situation when everything is set up for them to be successful. We want them to be able to hit great timing in a lot of different ways in a lot of different situations so that no matter what, it's just kind of there. And that means it's going to be a lot more resilient when it comes to racing. And that's really what the whole purpose of all of this is. We want to get them in situations where they can race effectively, race consistently, and resistance is another way to make that happen. So here's a breaststroke timing set, and that's a little bit more focused on skill than anything else. So they're going to go 1250s. They're going to go odds underwater breaststroke, evens delay breaststroke. The first 6, they're going to take one less stroke in pairs. The second 6, they're going to take one more stroke in pairs. That's going to challenge them to change their timing, and they're already using really effective timing drills. They're going to have to manage that as they go through. 350s breaststroke, slight descend 1 to 3, get a little bit faster as they go. Then they're going to go 1225s, same idea. except now it's 2 kicks, 1 pull, and then 2 pulls, 1 kick. Again, they're going to separate the arms and the legs, but they're going to do it in a slightly different way. 3 more 50s, slight descend 1 to 3. Then they're going to move into 20-25s. They're going to use all the drills. Underwater, 2 kicks, 1 pull, 2 pulls, 1 kick, delay breaststroke, and then regular breaststroke. So they're really experiencing timing in a lot of different ways. And we're going to change how they perform each round. Round 1, they're trying to minimize stroke count all the 25s. Number 2, they're going to build them all. Round 3, they're going to minimize stroke count and time. And then round 4 is going to be strong effort. So again, lots of different ways to challenge the skills. We're using multiple different drills, and we're challenging them from different performance perspectives. It's going to give them the best chance to figure out what kind of timing, how to make it work, and how to be successful in any situation. This set a little bit more of an endurance quality to it, so they're going to go 2 rounds through of 950s and 950s, so they've got 36 50s total. So they're going to go 3 50s as underwater breaststroke plus breaststroke. They're going to descend 1 to 3 at the same stroke count, then the same thing, 2 pulls, 1 kick. So the idea there is they're going to lock in the skills on the drill and then try to make it happen on the regular breaststroke. And we're going to challenge them to descend 1 to 3 at the same stroke count, being just as efficient and finding ways to create speed. So they're going to have to execute the drill well, and they're going to have to make it happen when they swim, and they've got to do that under some performance pressure. The next half of the set, it's done the same way, except now they have to descend at the same stroke rate. So they can't pick up the rate, but they have to go faster. They got to be locked in with their timing. They got to make sure everything's happening well, creating space, recovering fast, and finding ways to go fast. The second round through, they're going to add a stroke on the first half of the set, and they're going to use a faster stroke rate the second half of the set. They should be able to go faster as a result. So we're having them do the drills, we're having them back that up with some swimming, and we're challenging them from a performance standpoint to find the most effective way to execute great timing. This last set is a little bit more of a speed set, so they're going to go 4 rounds through, 25 underwater breaststroke, 2 kicks, 1 pull, 2 pulls, 1 kick, delay breaststroke, and then regular breaststroke. Those are all minimized stroke count and time, so they're going to have to be long and fast at the same time. Then we're going to go breaststroke fast, just let it rip, let it happen. By round, we're going to change the resistance so that they're challenged in an additional way. So in round 1, we're going to put drag socks on the feet. That's going to really slow down their legs, but not their arms. They still have to find a way to be efficient. The second round, the whole body's going to be slowed down, so they got to manage that. And then on the third round, we're going to slow down their arms, but not their legs, and that's going to further challenge them to be effective with great timing. Last round, no resistance. They just let it rip. And so this set, give them a little bit more rest, let them go a little bit faster. They have to be efficient and fast, and they have to do it in a lot of different ways with different types of resistance, different types of drills, and then they have to put it all together with a 25 breaststroke fast at the end of each round and really try to execute great timing. So this is a great way to challenge their timing, help them be really resilient, and help them figure out how to do it at speed. If you want to learn more about one of my favorite strategies for improving breaststroke timing, check out the video below.